Hello, today I'm going to show you how I'm setting up my Waterbox 180.5 reef. I'm going to tell you about the plumbing and how to convert it from metric to imperial. I'm going to give you an overview of the sump. We're going to go through some leak testing, and then I'm going to show you the tank with salt water, sand, and rocks. All right, let me show you something quickly about the plumbing that came with the Reef 180.5, and maybe I'll offer a little tip that will help you connect this to your typical North American Imperial PVC type connections. Okay, so what we have here is this is everything above here is going to be in overflow box, and below is going to be underneath in the sump. So we have this emergency drain, the main drain. We have the return line here with two kind of lock line outputs that go in the tank, and does come with a, what do we call these, the one-way valve, I guess. I know they have a name, but it allows water to go up this way but not down this way. On the sump side, we have here the emergency drain, this nice kind of controllable valve, so you could fine tune the water coming down. I'm looking forward to using this one because one knock that I had on the Reefer 250 was the valve was a little bit finicky to adjust. Let's just say that. It does come with this is the return with the option of connecting this very nice manifold, which I plan on using. I don't run a lot of reactors, but I do like, as far as I know, like the only reason I would want to hard plumb my system is to kind of create a manifold, but it's done for me, so it's great. So here's the part that I think you need to know about if you're trying to kind of plug in your Vectra or your DC return pumps or anything that uses Imperial outputs. So this union here, one thing that I should comment on is that there's unions pretty much everywhere, which I think is great. It would be really easy to kind of disconnect this from maintenance, so good job on Waterbox for doing this. The slightly annoying part is that these are all metric. So this is a 32 millimeter union, and this barbed hose that is supposed to be connected to this flexible PVC hose for your return pump. This is not really an inch, it's a little bit over an inch, right? So 32 millimeters is not exactly an inch, but that doesn't really kind of help you when you're trying to make watertight connections. So what I found really quickly is an easy solution, because I want everything to be imperial going down this way. So you could actually buy, I'm going to show you here with my other hand, you could buy a union that converts 32 millimeter to 1 inch. Let me see if I could do this in one hand. So this is your standard 1 inch PVC. All right, we're back. So this is 32 inches. This is our 32 millimeters. And this is our 32 to 1 inch adapter. So I'm gonna remove this. Just turn it the other way. Right, I'm gonna open this here. And so now I could convert my 32 into 1 inch. I need a tripod for my phone, but there you go, you get the idea. And now I could put a slip fitting here. I could put a 3/4 inch barb, which is compatible with my silicone tubings that I like to use. Let me just show you this. On my Reefer 250, I use this 32 inch silicone tubing, which is great because it's essentially, it dampens a lot of the noise from the pump and doesn't kind of transfer it to the tank. So I could now just, silicone here all the way to my Vectra, and I'm ready to go. So today my reefing buddy Wally came over and we installed the sump, and we did all the stock plumbing. So we have here the emergency overflow, the regular overflow, and the return line. I'm I don't have the barb hook yet attached, but that will be coming soon. Quick look about the sump. We have water goes down to the first chamber in the back here, then goes to one area for a filter sock. Another filter sock goes through here. There's a really large area, central area here, that you could use this divider to make like a fuge and a skimmer area. A bit of a bubble trap, and then the return. The size is fairly good. You know, like, it's not the ideal sump for me. I don't usually really like mechanical filtration. I just, you know, I hate filter socks, and I'm not really a big fan of rollers either. I like the idea of having the kind of the this is gonna sound a bit crazy, but I like the idea of having the detritus kind of come in, break down, and feed my Chaetomorpha. So when I first saw the design, I'm like, well, it'd be great if I could just remove all of these areas here and have my fuge here, and then get this whole area for my skimmer and other equipment. Then I debated a little bit about actually like not using the stock sump altogether, and maybe get a 40-gallon breeder divided into like 3 sections: a fuge, a section for skimmer and other things, as well as my return. But then my buddy convinced me that maybe I should just try this out for a little bit and see how far I go with it. So either kind of just leaving these areas empty and keeping my Chaetomorpha right here and a skimmer in the back, or actually kind of blocking this area, put like black acrylic here, put an LED panel here, and essentially use these 2 areas to grow Chaetomorpha. So I'll play around with these 2 ideas, but we'll see. I think Wally's right. I should probably try this out, see how I like it, and if it's not working out for me, I could change into something else. I mean, Sump looks great, like in terms of quality and silicone job, nice kind of thick glass. So obviously, if I do a 40-gallon breeder, it's never gonna look as nice as this. I just wish they kind of did like a Triton type sump that would be an option here. What do you think, Stella? Yeah, Stella likes Chaetomorpha. And then in terms of what's happening in the tank, oh, you can see my reflection there. My quarantine tank is in the back. The quarantine tank will go eventually, but for now I got a leopard grass in quarantine. Okay, let me just show you what I have on the top here. What I'm starting to do right now is to kind of leak test the tank. One important tip: if you're going to leak test the tank, do it in sections. Leak test the overflow first. So right now there is water in the overflow, and I'm doing it just to make sure that nothing leaks out of this box and nothing leaks from the connection in the bottom. If you fill up the tank all the way up and do a leak test with everything at once, it's going to be really hard to detect kind of subtle leaks. So for example, if there was a crappy silicone job here, let's say the water was leaking like somewhere down the bottom of the overflow box, there'll actually be a really big problem that you wouldn't necessarily pick up unless you have a power outage. Now the water is draining not from here, so it's not a little bit of water draining, but like maybe a third or half of the tank, depending on where any leaks are here. So I always kind of isolate things, test them. All right, there we are, leak testing the tank. Wish me luck. So the tank has just been filled up with regular tap water to do a leak test. So far so good. No water on the floor, which is always great. Sump also is full, so I'll give this maybe a day. Look for leaks, and if everything is fine, I'll connect my return pump and run it for another day, just to kind of get the water cycling through it. And if all is well, then it's salt, sand, and rocks on the weekend. Okay, leak testing the full system. All plumbed up. I just put my backup DC pump here, the J-Cod or JPO, whatever we call it. So one leak I discovered that's kind of my own fault. Water is leaking because I did a really crappy job with cementing the PVC last night. So there's a slip fitting here and a bar fitting here, and it's actually leaking from the connection. Sorry, slip fitting, reducer, barb fitting, and it's leaking from this connection here. I had really old crappy PVC cement. It was all dried up. And I wasn't able to kind of put a good bead around, and I didn't think it was going to be a big deal, but it is. So I'm gonna have to replace this. Otherwise, things look good. Water, I installed the filter socks just to kind of catch any dirt, and it's got a silencer. First filter sock, second filter sock, water goes through here. This is a removable baffle. So if I want to have a fuse here, I can have a fuse here. Then you have the back area here for a skimmer, a little bubble trap, and then the return section. So far so good. This is super smooth to kind of tune the water level. You hear the tank is pretty silent. The only thing that I could hear right now is my noisy J-Cod pump. I'll eventually put the Vectra M1 on here once I move all my equipment down from below. Impressed at how silent the sump is. Okay, everybody, it's day 3 of the leak test. Everything is going well. I did replace this barb fitting, and good tip for everybody is if you have old PVC cement, don't use it. Yeah, that was the mistake. I made the first connection with old PVC cement that was probably sitting in my my cupboard here for about maybe 5 years or so since I set up the Red Sea Reefer. It was really syrupy, very tacky, didn't really get a good seal, and it leaked. But with the new stuff, no leaks. Still running the J-Cod pump here. That's my backup pump. I plan to move the Vectra. And I wasn't sure what I'm gonna do for heat because this is in the basement, it gets cold. And I thought maybe about 1,000 watts was enough. So I did get 2 of these titanium 500 watt Phoenix heaters. They don't come with a controller, so there's actually no way, I can kind of see one here. There is no way to set the temperature on them. So you do have to use them in conjunction with a temperature controller. So as a result, I also picked up this Inkbird, which has 2 outlets here, so you could plug up 2 heaters, and it comes with 2 temperature sensors for redundancy. I checked them with several other thermometers, and they seem to be very accurate. Obviously, this is not how I'm gonna set things. I'm just testing them to make sure that they're able to heat up my tank and maintain temperature. So, wait, I'm noticing a bit of a leak here. Where is that coming from? Oh, it's coming from here. Okay. So that, I think I just have to tighten up a little bit. I did notice a very slow leak coming from here. I just had to tighten it up a little bit until the O-ring was nicely seated in here. This is the extension for the manifold. So I will probably install the manifold, but only when I need it. I just don't want to have a lot of clutter in the sump right now. No leaks, no puddles. The floor is nice and dry. I think we're ready. All right, everybody, this is what the tank looks like with sand and Aquascaping. I think it looks pretty cool. You just have it in salt water. It's been sitting like that for about, I think, 4 or 5 days. And I think we're good ammonia wise. I still haven't hooked up the sump. I'm going away for a week, so I'm gonna wait until I get back, but things are looking good, I think. You see all these little holes, all ready for my SPS collection. Lots of nice nooks and crannies for fish to hide. I think they're gonna love it. All right, I'll see you in about a week's time. By then, we'll hook up the entire system, and I think we'll be ready to start maybe adding some livestock. All right, peace out.